What you doing when the money call? Gotta get it now, ain't no time to stall. Tell them I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? What you doing when the money call? Gotta get it now, ain't no time to stall. Tell them I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon'
Air ball. We need to cut that out of the video.
Looking around at where you are, if you would have told the unpaid intern at Wake Forest that this is where you would be here now, what would he say?
I don't know that he would have been totally surprised. You know, I set a course for Vision 25 years ago to be an athletic director at this level, not necessarily at the University of Arkansas, but what a special place I have landed. So that intern may not be surprised at where he was because of the work ethic that was instilled in him by his parents and playing basketball in high school and college. But what an amazing place. I couldn't ask for a better landing spot for that dream and that vision of mine to be a director of athletics at this level.
Has the dream been everything that you expected of it?
And more. You know, one of the things I don't think you can, you hear about it, but you don't understand it until you're really in this state, living within the passion that people across the state have for the Razorbacks. And that passion is on both sides of the fence when things are going well and when they're not going well. But, you know, we're one of the few states that there's only one Power 5 school, that there's no major professional sports, and everybody's focus is on Razorback athletics and how specifically our football and our basketball and our baseball programs are doing throughout the year. And until you're in that passion, you don't truly understand what that passion's all about. And I'm sure you're experiencing that well from what you're doing from being from the outside like myself and moving to the state and getting to cover the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. And we hear a lot talked about Arkansas guy, especially when it comes to leading those football, those basketball, those baseball programs. And you don't really know until you get here. What is your definition of an Arkansas guy?
Well, I don't think you have to have been born and raised here, but I think you have to come in and have an understanding of what this state is all about. And I think, you know, you look at Eric Musselman and what he's done. He's not from the state of Arkansas, spent very little time here at all during the course of his life, but he quickly became engrossed in the fabric of the state and learned about the state and what makes it so special, and it's the people. And he has engaged himself with the students on our campus, with our ticket holders, with our Razorback Foundation donors, with their sponsors now, as you see, wearing their t-shirts anytime he's in front of the media. And so he understands what makes the state of Arkansas special is the people across the state of Arkansas. And so that really, when you talk about somebody that's an Arkansas man or an Arkansas coach or the right person for the job, they have to understand what this state is all about.
Do you consider yourself an Arkansas guy at this point?
I do, and I hope Arkansans consider me an Arkansas guy, because this is truly a special place, and I feel like my family and I'm, starting with my wife Jennifer, now I've got all of my kids back here. We feel like we're very much a part of the fabric of this state and understand that it's the people that truly make this state special.
You led me right into your next question, into my next question, because Ryan just joined the football staff. Jake obviously transferred in. You have your whole family here. You didn't get to see Ryan play a whole lot at Marshall, if I'm correct. How much does it mean to have him back here where you can interact with him and be more a part of your family? Because I know it's so important to you.
Well, it's really cool for a dad to have his middle son on the football team and his oldest son pursuing his dream of being a college football coach. And you know, the fact that you know, my middle son will always be in gratitude to Coach Morris for giving him an opportunity to transfer here, and then Ryan, my oldest son, is in gratitude to Coach Pittman for giving him an opportunity to be a graduate assistant. And you know, I'm excited for Ryan because there's some really good people within our football program right now, starting with Coach Pittman, and he's getting to learn from some great coaches and as he pursues his passion. And so Sunday night dinners around our house are a little bit more cumbersome than they used to be, let's put it that way.
Or should we expect to see Brooks in an Arkansas uniform in a couple years?
Well, we'll see. I mean, right now he's over at Fayetteville High School, so that's the other pretty cool thing is Fayetteville High School's on our campus for the most part. And so, you know, Brooks will walk over here and watch a basketball practice with me, go to football practice, and so he's getting to be a part of this campus community just as a ninth grader.
Has he picked a sport yet, or is he still kind of toeing the line between football and
I
basketball?
mean, football is his favorite sport. If you had to ask him and kind of hold his feet to the fire, it's football. But he played football on the freshman team. He's playing basketball right now, and so I've encouraged all my boys to not just focus on one sport. I mean, Ryan played football, basketball, and baseball throughout high school. Jake played football and basketball. Brooks is following in those same footsteps. I think it's important to be diversified and give yourself a break from one sport to the next.
No one took up tennis or swimming after you?
No, that's kind of limited their time, but that was what I thought was pretty cool growing up in the era that I grew up in. We went from football season to basketball season to baseball season, and then the summer started, and my friends and I would go to the pool and swim on the swim team, and then we'd play on the tennis team, and then football season would start back up again. The culture's different now with travel sports and club sports. It makes it more difficult for the youth in America to do the things that we're able to do back in the 70s and 80s, if I want to date myself. I'm a little bit older than you, I'm guessing.
Just a little bit. I had a birthday the last week, actually. I turned 33. I'm
Oh
feeling
my
every
gosh.
bit of it.
Yeah,
I
every
know,
bit of
so-
33.
It's a downhill slide from here. But, I know that you said that being the father of college athletes kind of gave you a new perspective. Jake has transferred into Arkansas, and obviously the transfer portal is this new thing that everyone's having to deal with. How does having a son that's transferred helped kind of better educate you on that aspect of collegiate athletics?
He had a great relationship with Coach McIntyre at Colorado, and then there was a change was made there, and him and Mel Tucker did not have the same relationship. Doesn't mean that Mel was the wrong coach at Colorado, it just wasn't the right fit for Jake at the time, and he was looking for a new opportunity, and I think that happens a lot to young men, whether a coach moves on to the next opportunity or is let go of the opportunity at the school he's at. Young men, young women, when they're recruited, they very much they're buying into the coach and the staff there as much as they're buying into the institution. So I think it's important to give student athletes the opportunity to at least transfer that one time without penalty, because we're asking sometimes as young as 14, 15-year-olds to make a decision on where they're going to go to college. And by the time they're 18, so much in their lives may have changed, so much that the institution they committed to may have changed.
Now, obviously, Jake was on the team when you made the decision to move on from Coach Morris. How do you separate those kinds of decisions from personal to professional? Because obviously that has an impact on someone very close in your life.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I was very intentional about excluding Jake from any of the conversations about the football program, the coaching search. I didn't want him to feel like he had to lie or misrepresent himself to any of his teammates that he was building relationships with. And so I was very intentional about trying to keep him in the dark on that. And I didn't want what he may have been experienced personally to have an impact on any of the decisions I made. But, the professional decision to make a change, that was an easy decision. That was the right decision. The personal aspect is what many people do not see. Chad Morris and I had become really close friends. And so you have to let a close friend go. My wife was involved with most of the assistant coaches' wives in a Bible study and become really close to them. Brooks, my youngest son, goes to school with some of the coaches' sons and daughters. And so that personal aspect, when you make a professional decision, especially in a small community like Fayetteville, has far-reaching impact than just the relationship between Chad and myself.
How heavily do those decisions weigh on you personally?
It's tough. It's tough because most head coaches at this level have a very nice kind of golden parachute built into their contract. Most assistant coaches and our support personnel, they don't have those same golden parachutes, but they have the same spouse and they have the same children, and they have to go find another job. Some of them have not found jobs, and that's a very difficult decision for a director of athletics. But again, we make decisions day in and day out at the University of Arkansas what we feel are in the best interest of our 465 student athletes, and it was definitively in the best interest of the 120 or so student athletes associated with our football program to make a change in the leadership of our football program.
You've been here just over 2 years. You've already had to make the decision to fire a head basketball coach and bring in a new one, and not long after fire a football coach and bring in a new one. You've gone through more change than a lot of athletic directors go through in 5 or 10 years. When you look at the program now, it is definitively bearing your stamp. Does it look like what you want it to look like right now?
we've got the ship headed in the right direction. And it wasn't headed in a terrible direction when I arrived here. You know, Frank Broyles, followed by Jeff Long, had done some really good things to position the University of Arkansas and the Razorback athletic program in a really good place in college athletics. And there didn't need to be some tweaks with starting with our men's basketball program. I just felt, and Mike Anderson had done some really nice things, and he had done a great job leading their basketball program and molding young men and touching people across his state. But I felt like, as I observed our basketball program for really my first year and a half here, that we needed a new kind of infusion of energy and an injection of energy within our men's basketball program, because that's one of our flagship programs. And Eric Musselman, as you can see, this year has given us that infusion. I mean, he is a highly energetic, highly motivated individual. He's doing a great job coaching this team. He's doing a great job engaging the university community and people across this state. And he's made it in vogue to be a fan of Arkansas Razorback men's basketball again.
The decisions that you've made in the last 2 years, and it's not just with football and basketball, but those are obviously the most well-known because, as you said,
Sure.
they are the flagship programs, but they're going to have lasting impacts on the university and the state for 10, 20 years. When you make those decisions, do you think about the lasting impact that they could have and what the decisions you're making now, what their legacy could be?
Absolutely. You know, when you have Governor Hutchinson send you a text telling you he's keeping you in your prayers when you're going through this football coaching search.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad
right,
thing.
you know the impact. You know, I showed that to my wife. I said, the governor of the state is wishing me good luck on the coaching search. I mean, that shows like what this athletic program, what our football program, what our basketball program, what our baseball program means to people across this state. And so I hope that it's positive lasting impacts that these changes are going to make. And we've seen a short-term positive impact here in men's basketball. And I think already just 60 days into Sam Pittman's tenure, you can already see a new infusion and a positive energy around our football program and the staff he's put together, the energy that you see in the weight room with our players, and just throughout our department. There's just a different feel right now about our football program, and you can sense it when I travel around the state. So I hope those changes that we're making are positive in 10 to 15 years from now as we look back on them.
What is it that you want your legacy to be here?
You know, I've not really thought about that, but if I had to give you an answer today, since you asked the question, I mean, I want my legacy to be that each and every year we made a difference in the lives of young men and women. The 465 student athletes that we had this year and those that will follow in their footsteps during my tenure. That's our focus day in and day out on the success of our student athletes. I tell our coaches, I tell our staff that when our student athletes have success, first and foremost academically and then athletically and then in their personal development, that we will have success in. Our success does not come before our student athlete success. Our student athletes have to have success first, and then we'll have success. And so what I want my legacy to be is, 15, 20 years from now when I step away, and hopefully it's that long, that there's thousands of student athletes that said their lives were impacted by their experience as student athletes here at the University of Arkansas.
Now, I have to be honest, when I did some research to prepare for this interview, there wasn't a lot that I could find about you personally. A lot of it was about your decisions strictly as an athletic director. Is that what you want, your work as an athletic director, to come before Hunter Yurachek, the person?
Well, Hunter Yurachek, the person, is Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director. I'm a father of 3 boys. My wife Jennifer and I have been married for 27 years, but I don't have any other hobbies. I don't hunt, I don't fish. I don't golf very well, so I don't golf often. This is my life. It's my passion. I've said it publicly that you can put my passions into 3 buckets: my faith, my family, and college athletics. And so there may not be a lot out there about me otherwise, because those are my passions.
All right, my final question for you. You ready to play some hogs?
Well, I am. Now, see, you're a softball player, but you've got a little bit of athlete in you. Obviously, you played college softball.
I did, and I played high school basketball. So I know you said God gave you D3 ability.
Yeah.
He gave me high school ability.
Okay, well, this should be an interesting game then. So
I hope so.
And you've already been warming up, I've heard.
One shot.
Oh, one shot. That's one more than me today.
Well, there you go. And as I think Kevin told you, I have agreed you can ask me any question you want, with the caveat he told you, miss a shot, answer a question?
Okay, sounds
Yeah,
good.
I'm
All
open
right,
to it.
perfect.
Let's
Let's go.